Hey, how you guys doing? So, this is the tutorial for my floor-to-floor elevator now. You'll probably notice the time is quite long to do this. And this is very time-consuming, but now, some of the monostables I'm using are orientational, but they won't be in the future. Um, but the main reason I'm using them on this is because um, this is the PC/Xbox version. I am on the Xbox, but if you're on the Xbox, you need to be facing that direction, which is west. So either east or west. But I'll tell you, facing west is the best way to build this. And so the first thing you're going to want to do is dig a 10 by 9 across hole by 3 deep. And then once that's done, you're going to want to come on this side of the hole. If you look on the map, so looking north, you're going to want to place these blocks in. You're going to want to come in here, put these blocks in, and these 2 wood. And then you're just going to want to put some repeaters and some redstone for right now. Come up on top. 2 sticky pistons, 2 repeaters, 2 regular pistons just like that. And the deck is done. And so from here, you can see from the 4 we just put in, I put my deck, and the deck is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 by, I believe, it really doesn't matter because we're not making it that big, but let's see how big we are making it. So we got 1, 2, so that would be a 4-floor elevator. That's going to be a 6th floor. Now originally I wanted to make a 4-floor, but for some reason when I got to the top it matched up, but you really couldn't tell what was what, and it was very hard to build upon at that point. So this is what we should have now. And so all we need to do is just figure out our keypad first, which is this. Now of course you can make this out of whatever material you want to. It doesn't have to be sandstone. But the wool, I would say, make the same. The reason why is there's 38 circuits on this thing. So yeah. So what we got here is we got floor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And yeah, so this diagram down here, you could copy it if you would like to. It's just reference for me. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to build our structure up. And this is a very important part because without it, this whole thing gets screwed up. So the first floor, ground to 2, is actually 11 blocks. So you want to count 11. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then you mark the floor. And then from here you want to count 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then mark your floor. And then do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mark the floor. And so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be a 4 floor. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Mark the floor. So that's our 5th floor. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then mark the floor. And I usually go up 5, but you can do whatever you want at this point because this is the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do 5. So that's our floors. And so I'm going to be skipping through this video because there's no way I could do all this with you block by block. The circuitry I will, but the actual build I'm not going to. I'm going to mark it out for you and then you can figure it out. So I would say double check it because I've made this elevator a couple times, got to the top and realized I was one off. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 5 more. Oops. Yeah, so the preparation for this is the most important. If you want the circuitry to match and to not have any problems, it needs to be, perfect, especially floor spacing. Now, I'm not going to explain why it's 11. It takes too long. So, at this point, all you want to do is just build up this edge perimeter. You can see there's a space of 3 to my left here. So you're going to want to fill all that up with sandstone or with whatever material. And you're going to want to copy this all the way. So like that. And then the rest of this is the same. It's just, you just build up the whole thing. So a 6th floor is the smallest one you can do that will actually make it expandable. So you're going to want to build all this up. So I will see you in a second. Alrighty, now that we got that done, you're going to want to come in here, and this is going to be our floors where you're going to get out at. So all we're going to do is just mark this, and then you can fill it in, but we're going to do the keypad. We're just basically going to get all the buttons for the keypad going. So we grab some black wool, and then right here you're going to want to knock these 2 out. Now I will say that these have to be at this height. I didn't make this elevator to be any other height than what you got here. So yeah. And you're just going to want to do this all the way down. Same height on every floor, which is 1 block above. So 1 more. So there we go, we got that. So now we can start on our elevator shaft. Now, this all needs to be filled in, which I'll do here in a second after we do the elevator shaft. So we basically want to build up everything but where I put those repeaters, which is 2 away from where we just built. So you go ahead and just build these up. Now the last two only need to go up to the height of the floor, your very top floor. So what I'm going to recommend is that I'm going to do this video so you basically can stop it and just repeat what I do, like by rewinding it. This part is going to be, you'd want to make 12 of these if this was a 12 floor or whatever. And then also you could just make this one and then extend it later by copy pasting. So from here you just want to go every other from where we marked it all the way up, and not enough time for me to do that, and so yeah, go every other and then place repeaters in it. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill these in as well. So I will. Alrighty, so now that we got that built, you want to double check your spacings to make sure that they're exactly like you see here, all the way up. Yeah, this is very important because without them, it's not going to work. You miss one of anything I show you and it's not going to work. So what we're going to want to do now is on every floor, you're going to want to dig it out like this. And this is going to serve as our piston dropper or monostable dropper. And all that basically means is this is going to be a circuit right there. So we're getting ready to install our pistons, and so for reference, you don't have to do this, but I myself do it just out of the fact that you don't need these blocks here, and it's a good, reference point. And in the future we might actually need this space, but there is plenty of room to get back in here later and take all this out if you like, but I do it. It gives you a really good reference point for 11, 10, 10, 10, 10. So alright, so let's go ahead and put our pistons in this. Now I'm only going to do the first couple, which you're going to want to start on the left side. I'm going to actually just do this many, and so you're matched up if they match the repeaters. So, and then once you're done with that, you put normal pistons in front, and then you cover it. And so you want to do this all the way up. So alrighty, so now you should have something that looks like this all the way down. And so now we're going to start in on our blue circuit. Which is 4 blocks like that. And so on this first one we're going to put repeaters. You're going to need full, and then 1, or it's actually 2, I'm sorry. So I'm going to do the first 3 and then skip forward with you. And so if you were doing this on the PC version, this is going to be at the highest speed, meaning it's not going to be multiplayer friendly. So if you're on the PC version, you're going to want to set this to 4 delay. If you're on the Xbox, you want it on 2. And then you just want to redstone this whole thing. And you definitely want to make sure your timings are good. Double check them. If one of these is off, the elevator's not going to work. And I can tell you this is so big that if you ask me for help to fix it, I ain't going to be able to help you. There's too many circuits for me to go through to even attempt to try and figure out what's wrong with it. So make sure every time's the same. It's 1, 4, and then 2 ticks, and then for the PC it should be 4. So yeah, let's go ahead and finish this. Now I'm going to go ahead and go up here real quick, and what it should do is it should land just like this on the top, and all you're going to need to do is just have one repeater on full with redstone like this. I think I made that too big, yeah. Sorry about that. Should only be 3. So yeah, that's all that you're going to need, and it'll match up just like this on yours. If you're doing a 6-4, which you should be, so 60 blocks tall. So alright, I'm going to finish. Alrighty, so this is what we should have now, all the way up. Same timings on every single level. If one of these is off, it's not going to work. So we can now put in our up circuit, which is red. Now I'm going to do the same thing because there's just not enough time, which I'm going to just do a portion of it with you. And so what you're going to want to do is just basically put repeaters up, both sides facing each other like that. And so for the PC, these need to be on full, and for the Xbox on none. So I will see you in a second. Now you're going to want to build this up and just match it to this height here. So just level. Alrighty, I will see you in a sec. Alrighty, so now that we got that done, we can go ahead and put torches on this. And you're going to want to come down here to the bottom and put torches on this side first. You're going to want to do that all the way up. And so red represents the up circuit or power. So you're going to want to go down to the bottom and do this because it's going to also test our piston. Now you kind of want to pause in between. You can see here I missed some redstone. You're going to kind of want to pause, let it finish its cycle. If you do this too fast, it'll actually cause pistons to stick out, even though it monostables them basically. So yeah, don't put them too fast, but about the same speed I am. Because a torch going on and off is technically a 1-tick pulse. So you don't need this, but we do need it for a note block. So yeah, it's going to be part of the note block circuit. And so at this point we can go to the front and check and see if any pistons are sticking out. So obviously my timings are good except for right there. So what you're going to want to do is mark it like this and come around and see why I could have missed a time or something. Yeah, you can see right here that this should have been on 4. So I'm going to go ahead and so there we go. That should be completely, yeah. So now we have a good, all the timings are good. Yeah, so if any piston sticks out on this, you're going to want to do what I just did on all of them if you messed up that much. So now we're going to start on our green circuit, which is going to be down. It's also going to be a control for the stopping down. So yeah, level, and then every other. So pretty much where you see the torch, you're going to want to do every other. Oops. So for any PC users, I'll probably end up doing a download on this on Planet Minecraft, but we'll see. We'll see about that. I don't like doing downloads just because people get your information. So we're gonna do the same thing. I don't have enough time to sit here with you guys and do this whole circuit because it is quite big. It takes probably 10 minutes or 15. So what you're going to want to do is the same thing we did on the red. You're going to want to put repeaters all the way up, and then you're basically want to just match it up to the red all the way up. So this is what it should look like. You should have full on the left and 2 ticks on the right, and it should be like that all the way up. And you're going to want to bring it to that keypad, to the very bottom of the keypad. That's the height that you'll want. So it should look like this. Up here. So yeah, you should be 2 higher than the red. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this. Alrighty, so this is what we should have now. You can see redstone all the way down, repeater on 4, repeater on 2. Alright, so at this point we can go ahead and put in our instant retraction system, which is light blue. And like before, we're just going to do a little bit of it, and then so you're going to want to put that all the way up, and then you're going to want to put torches on the inside and the outside, and then redstone up like that. You're going to want to do that all the way up until it's level with the red circuit at the top. So I will see you. Alrighty, so now that we have that done, it should look just like this. Yeah, double check and make sure that it's correct, because it's very important to be like that. So now we can go ahead and do instant extension circuit, which first thing you want to do is place a repeater with some redstone. And since we're here, we're going to go ahead and you're going to want to put torches there, and you're going to want to put a torch right here. So in your 10 by 9 hole, you're going to want to dig out 3 from the wall down, and you should have it looking just like this. And so since we're here, I'm going to go ahead and put in our lead, and then you're just going to want to put a piston in there like that, 2 repeaters, and then some redstone. So it should look like that now. And then 1 here. So this is what we should have now. And so just to finish off the monostable, this is what it needs to look like. So now we can go ahead and finish off this circuit, which is instant extension. Now, as before, I'm just going to do a little bit with you, and then we're going to, yeah, if I had enough time to go block by block with you, I would do it, but This is going to be a long video regardless. So you want to repeat this pattern all the way up. And so on the very bottom, you're just going to face your repeater that way towards our monostable, and then you're going to want to face them every other direction. And it's very important that it does that, otherwise it won't travel down. So what you're going to need here is every other, just like that. So look at that. You're going to want to do this all the way up, and then you're going to want to come level with the blue circuit. So alrighty, so now that we got that done, we can go ahead and test it. Since it's not hooked up to anything, this is the best time. And so what you're going to want to do is just come over here, put power in, do the same with the green, and you just want to check to make sure that you're getting power all the way down. As you can see here, we're getting power all the way down on that one, and then it does take a little bit of time for the green. So yeah, we can see we're getting power through both directions now. And so now we can go ahead and remove these levers. And this is just a test. If you're missing any power anywhere on the blue circuit, on the yellow you're missing repeaters or redstone. So it's very important to do that. Alrighty. Okay, so we got our 5 basic circuits for this elevator. So now we need to hook up the monostable to this and our quick extension. So first thing we're going to want to do is come in underneath here. You should already have repeaters here, but if you didn't, you put repeaters, and then you put your redstone and then put it right in to that block. That's going to activate our bar. And so at this point we're going to do our bottom portion of this, which we're going to need red and green. And you're just going to want to come here and put a torch on the top of the black, block on top like this, and then come underneath, place a block. Now you're going to want redstone and a torch, and some more redstone right there. And then from here you just want to put sticky piston facing down with a block on it. So now when we hit the up button, it's going to activate the monostable, causing it to go up or down. So now this is our down button. This one's slightly different than all the others because it's up a little higher. So you just want a repeater up against it, some redstone, then you want to put a repeater underneath the torch to prevent it from getting power. And so at this point we need to hook up our blue circuit, which is basically just some redstone like this, repeater, and usually I use sandstone because I bury all of this when I'm done. But so yeah, this is going to come in and power that. So now we just need to hook up our activation to tell this monostable to shut off or on depending on what circuit you're using. So what we're going to want to do is just place a block on this torch, and place another one here, and then go 3 up with your sticky piston, put 1 there, should be looking just like that. So we should have something like this now, and then yellow should be like that. So you're going to want a repeater here and here, and this should cause the monostable to turn on or off. And so we're just going to test it since it's not powered or hooked. So when power gets sent through, any of these circuits, it's going to cause this to activate this piston, as you can see. And also it's going to do instant retraction. As you can see, it's traveling up quite fast. And so at this point, all you need to do is just put some redstone there. And to prevent backfeed, we're actually going to want to put a repeater here so it doesn't activate this. So now we can go ahead and test this. We're going to test the up and down real quick and then move on to our next circuit. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the up. Now because the yellow circuit is so tall, it actually won't work with a button. It has to have a pulse lengthener, which we're going to make. It's part of the circuit, but it won't be till later. So these obviously aren't hooked up, so we're just going to come over here and I'm going to send it down at a controlled speed. And what it should do is it should go down and then stop. So if it doesn't stop, we're going to have to change it. And there you go, you can see it came down and then shut off the monostable at a proper time. So we're going to go ahead and do the yellow circuit, just do a test on it, and what it does, it should quickly extend it. And it should stay extended. So you can see there that it did exactly what it's supposed to do. And so, yeah, at this point, go ahead and send it back down at a safe speed. And now we can begin our prep for our, I guess, 38 circuit. Just, you know, I wouldn't even know what to call it, to be honest. Just a lot. So if you notice that it just got a double pulse, it went down and then on, and that's because it needs the pulse lengthener on here. And so without the pulse lengthener, for some reason you get these phantom power spikes. You can see that it's getting redstone lock, which is not a problem. When we put the other circuit in, it prevents it from doing that. So yeah, if you need to, just put green blocks on it and it'll fix it. So alright, so we just need to prep for our floor. I'm going to go ahead and put these blocks back in the proper inventory here. We're going to need sandstone and redstone, and go ahead and going to need some buttons, and we're going to need some glowstone, and actually we don't need sandstone, we're going to need this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put in our safety rail system. So this is where digging these sides out comes into play. And first thing you want to do is come over here and put redstone on top like that. And I would say just do all of them. Yeah. So now we'll go ahead and put this glowstone back up. Grab some sandstone. And so what you're going to want to do is just on the right there, you're going to want to put piston like that, 2 sandstone, and you're going to want to grab a piston and put it on there like that. So this is what you should have. Should be exactly like that. And then what we're going to want to do is grab a red block and replace it with red wool. And you're going to want to do this all the way up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll see you guys in a sec. Alrighty, So now that we've finished that, what these do is they cause the piston to go level. I'm not going to go into too much detail, you'll see it work. But we do need to work on our floors here. So what you're going to want to do is go on every floor and make this pattern right in front. Now it doesn't have to be glowstone here, but it does give you some light, which is cool. So yeah, you basically need to have a 2x3 right in front of the elevator, and that's on every floor. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Alrighty, so now that we got that in, we can go ahead and finish this up. And so right below the glowstone you're going to put some wood like this, and you're going to break through the side. And you're going to want to remove that. So this is what we should have now. And just for this top floor so we can match it, basically come out, what was that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put a piston, repeater, and like that. So redstone, block of wood, and then a repeater on 4. And at this point you can go ahead and seal this up. Put some stickies here, wood on top. You're just going to repeat that all the way down. So on this next one, I'll do 2 of them with you because it does get a little confusing. So right below that block of wood, redstone. So this repeater is going to power through. I don't know if you just seen that, but it powered through because it's next to power. So again, you're just going to want to repeat this all the way down. So it should look like that all the way down, and then when you're done, you seal this up. And so another thing you're going to want to do too, once you've put it in, you're going to see the pistons here. And I put in some glowstone. It doesn't prevent any budding, but it does give you good light in here, which you're going to need. So yeah, so basically right next to this you're going to want to put glowstone. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the last 3, and I'll see. Alrighty, so now that we got that done, we should have exactly the same height on every single one, and that's going to be our safety rail system. So we're going to leave the glass out for now. We'll do that at the end. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build the first circuit, and we're not going to hook it up on the right, and nor are we going to put in any of the button or control panel yet. So this is something you're probably going to want to replay. I'm only going to do one circuit on the bottom, and then you'll probably want to mark this time from when I start and just rewind it and watch it and do it for as many floors as you need to. So the very top floor is slightly different. You don't need as much circuitry. So yeah, once we do floor 2 and we do the circuit, you're just going to want to stop and rewind and then just put it on each floor. And then we'll hook it up. I'll hook it up with you. So first thing you want to do is look at the black keypad and red block on top. Just look like this. Redstone, torch. And then you're going to want to put a piston facing down with a red block on it, and then you're going to want to count 1, 2, 3, and then put a torch on it. And so now you're going to want to grab some pink, come 3 blocks like this. You're going to want to put one pink here, repeater on no delay, repeater on 3 ticks, redstone. So we should have that now. You're going to want to grab your magenta, 4 ticks. Then what we're going to need to do is a star. It should be like this. Go ahead and put a repeater here on 4. So just like that. Redstone torch. Alright, so now we can go ahead and hook up this monostable, which we're going to need white. It's part of the white circuit. Two blocks over. Put one like this. And break that out. And so we're not hooking any of this up, so this is all we're going to need for right now. Then you're going to need a torch, another torch, and some redstone. And from here you're going to want to put piston, pink block, come down here, piston and a red block. Then from the side here, you're going to basically need this pattern. Redstone, repeater on no delay. Alright, so if you come underneath here where this piston is, you're going to want to count 1, 2, 3, break those out, torch. And then in front of that, white block should come up and match to the top there. And you're going to want pretty much a similar pattern to what we just did. Redstone on both corners here like that. Then you're going to need to come in here, put a sticky and a non-sticky. And then on the non-sticky you're going to want to put, go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we should have a spacing of 2 here. Get rid of those. And then you're going to want to come underneath, put a red block, and then count down 1, 2, 3, and a torch. So at this point we're going to need to grab our baby blue, and you're going to want to place it right next to it. Kind of squeeze in here. And this is very important to put the redstone there, torch. Now you're going to see this connect, so we don't want that connecting, so we're just going to put a green block on top, like that. And then we're going to want to put a white block here. And so that's going to be the control for a quick retraction. So yeah, so at this point we're going to go ahead and do our selecting system, which consists of a redstone torch there, piston, red block, and then right underneath we're going to need a green with some redstone. So right where this red block is, you're going to want to take this redstone out. You're going to want to replace it with repeaters. And at this point, you're going to want to come in, and because we added in a second repeater, we're going to need to change the timing to 3 ticks here and then 1 there to compensate for, that way we don't get any weird lags. So anyway, so underneath the torch, I want to put a white block, and this is what's going to actually stop our elevator. I'm not going to go into how it does that, but anyway, so yeah, that's that. And so at this point, we got our control, we got our stop, and so now we need to hook up this, and then we need our smart piston on the bottom. So let's go ahead and get rid of green, grab some magenta. Alright, so sticky piston in front of this, and you want to go pattern like that, repeater, and a block like that. So this is what it should look like now. And so another block with a repeater, some pistons, and so it should look like that. And I use red, and what this is this is a reset. And so when this gets engaged, what's going to happen is when you hit the down button, that's what's going to happen. What it's going to do is it's going to complete this circuit. Power is going to travel up through here, reset the piston, and then it's also going to stop the elevator. So that's what we got to put on next. Go ahead and so I usually have buttons here. When you seal it though, you want to get rid of them because the building structure comes right up here. So we're basically going to be staying at this level. So alright, so at this point you want to put some redstone here. Another thing you're going to want to do on the white circuit, you're actually going to want that. Don't put any redstone or anything on it just yet. And so we need to hook up our the down button. So we're going to come in here, 2 blocks and then a repeater, some redstone, and then right up against that red block, and this is a reset. So automatic reset. Oops. And so repeater on 3. And if I can get out of here, there we go. Repeater on 3 ticks. Alright, now we just need to hook up our down. So from here you just want to come across 1 block down, repeater, connect it in like that. And so that's our down and reset for down, all hooked in. So it just needs some redstone here. Alright, so now that we've gotten that sorted out, now we're going to be switching to our dark gray circuit. You may not think it, but we've already done almost 20 circuits. The reason why is these do multiple things. So you want to bring it out to the yellow and break it off like that. And then where this piston is, you're going to want to put another line of, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're just going to put some redstone here, 2 redstone. And then this is going to be our pulse lengthener. And so it needs to be 4, 5, 6 ticks, and then 1. And then underneath here, don't forget the redstone there. Repeater, redstone. And when you come in here, you can use whatever color block you want, but I usually use dark, and connect it. So this is our instant extension / smart button. So this is going to need some other features, but we're going to hook those up after we do all of these. So yeah, so another thing this is going to need is it needs a block update, which would be 2 pistons away from that piston, and I usually use red. So when this is powered, it's going to just basically cause this piston to touch, causing an update. So it's not actually a bug, it's because at certain times the elevator won't lift the piston, so when you hit the button it'll make it lift the piston for you. So this piston can actually only function when the elevator is down, and so there's up, down, and then there's in between, so it needs to be smart like that. so So this is pretty much our up-down control circuit, and I'm just going to double check some stuff here. Alright, so just for temporary, I'm going to do this. So you basically just want to put some temporary wool here and then come underneath. Oops. And replace the block that I just broke. We get the redstone. Alright, so right there you're going to need a repeater on 4 and 4. And so at this point you're going to want to replace this block, giving power through. And that's pretty much that, and you'll see that it'll pop this piston up. Daddy. Make sure you don't miss this last repeater here, and it needs to be like that on all of them, and I will see you in a second. Alrighty, so now that we got that, we got our block update and this connected. So you're going to want to repeat this on every floor. So what I'm going to say is that what you want to do is basically rewind the video, and then you'll see me just start here, and you just want to repeat it, and you're going to want to leave the top floor out, this one, because it's just slightly different. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and put this circuit in on all these, and then I'll see you when it's done. Alrighty, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 circuits that are exactly alike at the same height and everything. And so now what we're going to need to do is just finish up some stuff on here. They connect slightly differently, so we're going to need magenta and dark gray and red, of course. But so here going to need to put a pattern like that, and we're also going to need some white, and this is just to block off so no power gets into it. And so best thing to do is like that. That way it doesn't activate it. And you're going to want to do that all the way down. And so what this is it's a reset for the safety bar, and that's all it is actually. Alright, so we do not want to forget this, because it will actually touch, cause a lot of things to activate at once, which you don't want. So there we go. Okay. So now the dark gray circuit. Now each floor is different. I mean, every other floor is the same, but so you'll see here. So on the very first floor, this is the second floor, you'll see that when I put these repeaters in, which should be on 4 and then 2 for 6, it's going to come through and power that repeater and travel down. But on this next one, you can see that if I was to do that, it would just power that one thing and that would be it. So what you need to do is slightly different. And it's the same timings, it's 4 and 2. And so you just do that all the way up and you'll see that it's just every other floor. Yeah, so 4 and 2, and you can see that that would clearly power that redstone, which would power this repeater and go down. And then the same over here, so same as the one below it, 2 and 4, like that. And so now we're just going to do this top one. Now if you're planning on extending this, if you were going to make this 12, you'd want to do this 12 times, actually it would be 11, but so when you get to the top, it's just slightly different, and it's that you don't need, you only need one reset. And this is just for the safety guard. And so this would only be on if you were doing the top. Go ahead and add that in. And grab some pink wool. Alright, so put in our monostable. Alrighty. Pretty much the same as what we've been doing, except you aren't going to need that piston, you just need this one. And yeah, so like this, come in here with a repeater. And so on this one we're going to need that's correct. So you aren't going to need anything else on that, but we do need it down. So go ahead and grab some green, come in here, repeater here on 3. Pretty much exactly like the other floors, it's just you don't need the resets and all that stuff. So yeah, so purple circuit you don't need on this, or I'm sorry, magenta. So now all we need is just the bottom half of the gray circuit. And then we can begin testing, And of course we still have to hook up our control panel. So testing actually is not next. Four and two and one, redstone in there. Connect it up. So this should be all that we need for that. We just need to hook up this last stage. So I believe it's like this. Yeah. And then we want to come in underneath here. Hold on a sec. Oh, yeah. Oops. It's supposed to be one higher. Like that. 4 and 4. That's that. So this is all that's needed for the top circuit. You don't need any of the other stuff. So we can begin on our buttons here. And those all hook up slightly differently than others. And go ahead and add this little final buttons there. Alright, so now we're going to begin our torch tower, and then we're going to do our instant wire. So I'm going to go ahead and so purple is what we're going to need. So you're going to want to come down here, and so this is floor 1 or ground floor, which we aren't hooking up. There's no reason to hook it up. So 2 and then 1, 2, 3 and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And that should be it. So 1, 2. Alright, so you need 2 repeaters here, and then 1 on every other like that. Some redstone. Torches here, redstone here. And so at this point we can come up here, and you can see where these buttons match up, and so what you're going to do is, should be 4, I believe. 4. Should have 4 like that, and then 3, then 3, then 2. It's very important that those buttons are going to activate the repeaters behind it, which I should probably do now. Because if these don't match up right, nothing's going to match up right. And so then you got 1, and that's it. This is all that you'll need. Alright, so now we just need to make our torch towers. So pretty simple. Just come behind here like that, with some blocks on this, like that. Redstone, You're going to need some torches here, and then blocks on top, like that. So you'll see that this will turn them all off. And you're just going to want to repeat this. Now it changes per floor, that's why I'm going to do this with you. It's actually why I cut the video down so much. It's because this is actually pretty complicated. Yeah. So where this white circuit is, you're going to need it only at that height. And so what we're going to need to do now is we're going to need to do a flip. So a flip is this. So when we add in our torches here, what this does is it turns the torches off, causing them to be on in this spot, which means when we hit the button from anywhere, it's gonna send a signal up. So basically need to do this all the way up. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do a single one, that way I don't have to do all of them. So like that. And just every other, and you should see it should match up. If it doesn't match up, you got a serious problem. It means your floor isn't the correct height. So, alright, so we can go ahead and add in where we need our flips, which is right there, right below the repeater. Now I call them flips, but there's something else. You don't need a flip up here. All it really is we're inverting the torch is all we're doing. So, I did that wrong. Oh. Yeah. So, this block's actually not needed, it's just a marker. And so now we can do this. We can go, so each floor we go up, we lose a tower, meaning like we get rid of a tower. So you'll see that this one's going to match here. So yeah, you can see it just works the same. So every time we go up, you lose one because you only need the button to activate one floor and one floor only. So you can see here, this is going to match up here, so we can bring it that level. And that's why we have to do the circuit like that. Alrighty. So definitely need to flip there. And I must have forgot a torch. Yep, there we go. So the light should always be the same. So if they're one's on, one's off, you're gonna you know something's wrong. So this last one is just to activate the floor. So yeah, so that should be perfect just like that. That's the 6th floor. So this one does need to go up. but only to connect to the floor. So it only needs to come up to that height. And you can usually tell because the torch will be off on the one. So you can see here that that should be correct. Check this one. That. I can place a block here and here. Alrighty. So now we can go ahead and connect these up to our up circuit. And so the way that this works is on the very bottom it's slightly different.
What's in it?
On this one, we're going to be using the power in this direction to activate the floor. So that one's the only one that's like that. This block's technically not needed, but I leave it there for a shield. And so, same thing here. So we're doing this one slightly different. You see I came out with it. And to save some redstone being exposed, just put a block there like that. So we're going to need, see that connects right in. Now when we put in our down circuit, we're going to end up having to put repeaters here, but this will work for now. So yeah, check that. Everything's cool on that. Alright, and so you do the same thing. You can see it comes out one every time. And these top ones have to have repeaters up against here because it won't power through there. So same deal. 2 repeaters and then 1. As far as how much delay is on there, doesn't really matter. There's no way you could possibly hit the button and get up to that floor before it activates. So now if you make a 12 tall version of this, you're going to get to a point where this is so long that you're going to have to put a repeater in at 15, but I really don't even think people are going to do that, make one that big. They might. Be cool if they did. I'd really like to hear about, people and how much they like this or dislike, what's wrong with it, what would they like to see changed. It really sucks when somebody just dislikes the video and doesn't really tell me why they didn't like it. Some people think this is Cube Hamsters. This is nothing like Cube Hamsters. Believe me, I looked at his. My original elevator design is based upon my elevator, and then all this stuff is nothing like Cube Hamsters. So I'm only bringing that up because I had somebody comment about it. Alrighty, so that's the white circuit hooked up. So now when we push a button, it should activate the floor for us. So we don't need to test that yet, but what we do need to do is get our down circuit in first before we start testing. There are a lot of bugs in here because it's a lot of stuff. I'm sure I missed some things, and I'm sure you're gonna too, so I'm basically not going to double check anything, and then any problem that I find, we'll go through it together and I'll show you how to trace the problem down if there is one. If you did it exactly like me, you'll have no problems, but that's not always the case. Sometimes we miss a repeater. This is a lot of circuits. So anyway, so you want to come up here, and that's floor 2. And so we basically want to take torches and mark floor 2 all the way down to floor 3. Let's see here, floor 3, is that floor 3? It's floor 2. So floor 2 is not going to need a torch. Alright, so this is where we can begin our instant wire, and it is going to be orange circuit. you're going to want to do is make kind of a claw pattern like that. Get rid of that. And repeat. Now, everywhere it doesn't land where a button is, needs a torch. And it actually needs to be upright like that. Otherwise it will interfere. So, yeah, anyway. So you do this all the way down. And I'm going to go ahead and go through all of this with you because it can get really confusing. And the way it hooks up on the bottom is kind of weird because it's different all the time. So this is just an efficient way of going down. It's instant, which is not really necessary, but it is quick and it does the job every time, and it gives you a noise letting you know that you've done the correct thing. So anywhere there's a torch angled for the button, you ain't going to need a block. So that should, I think we need to come down a little bit more. So and you pretty much have to do this for every floor you have. So if you have 12 floors, you're going to have the same thing. You're going to have 12 of these. So I believe it needs to go down a little bit further, and you can see how I was telling you that it's going to start matching up. So you're going to have to put a repeater on the white circuit to prevent it from connecting. Alright, so at this point, this is where we connect our magenta, and you're going to still need this, just need a torch, repeater, block out like that, redstone, torch. So now all we need to do is just grab some magenta, and connect it up. So you're going to want to block this off. Get rid of that. And so that's going to activate the down circuit from all the way up there. And so now we just need to hook up the second one. And so these are not tileable because they're redstone, so they have to be staggered. So on the next one, we're going to need to come out one more. And you're just going to do this instead. And add a torch. Now, yeah, so we're going to need 4 there. One thing's good is once you have the first one built, you got pretty much a template. So template. Now this gets pretty snug in here, but that's what makes it small. So a lot of people, I've actually had people say, can't you make it smaller? I'm like, make this smaller. This is actually smaller than even cube hamsters as far as actual space being used. His is smaller in another area, which is the fact that he's got a lot of air blocks going. So basically need the same thing here. So I actually went down too far on that last one. So let's go ahead and bring it up. Aren't going to need that. We do need it there though. So yeah, that's all we're doing here. We're just matching it up to this block with the button on it. And some of them are going to work out differently than others, and that's why I'm going through it with you. So you can see this one kind of came up. So we're going to need to block that off. Kind of step it down like that. So that's connected, so that's floor 3 connected. So now we just need to connect the last floor, and of course the taller you make this, the more of these you'll have, and you know it's you know, infinitely expandable. If you were doing this on the PC, this thing just, you know, you can just make it. I made a 15 floor one. Works real nice. Although people complain about the speed of it, but yet it wouldn't be multiplayer friendly. So I'm kind of like, you know, maybe you should just use a mod if you don't like this on the PC. Because this is not using any bugs. No bugs. Which is pretty rare to come by, to be honest. Most people use any kind of means necessary to make it smaller, but at the price, at a pretty heavy price. Just checking something there. Alright, so this is where we're going to be connecting it up here, and I went down too far again once again. Yeah, so what I was saying about, you know, making mistakes, you know, it's going to happen, and you're going to see this is going to match up quite differently than the other ones. So what we're going to need to do is just repeat her, and that's on floor, was that 1, 2, 3, so this is the 3rd floor I think, or maybe it's the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th floor. So we're hooking up the 5th floor. And I'm missing this one here. So it looks like I did screw up. So let's go ahead and that one is actually supposed to be connected to that floor. Yeah, it's really easy to get disorientated doing this, so yeah, so let's go ahead and bring this down and connect it to this floor here. Definitely don't want to miss that. This thing would not work. Yeah, there's so many circuits on this, you know, honestly, there's so many circuits that when I made this, I had trouble timing it and debugging it, because there's, you know, I mean, I design one circuit, then design another, and before I know it, I've made so many circuits that I don't even remember which one did what. So, of course, now I do. So this is where the torch needs to be upright. You can see that it matches up next to a torch tower, which would totally affect it. So, looks like we're there. So, alright, so come out like that, step it up, block off this redstone, and there's floor 3 connected. So now we can go ahead and hook up this one to floor 4. So this is quite a bit. I don't know if anybody noticed, but this is a lot of circuitry. We're coming up, each one of these towers counts as a circuit, so in all reality we've done more than 40 something circuits, and we're still counting. So yeah, so this is where this would hook up, and as I said before, it's going to kind of do something weird here, which you're going to have to do this. But it works out better. And so just to check to make sure that's going to power that. There, you can see it. Alrighty. So it's not supposed to toggle that block up like that. But this isn't a monostable, this tower. So, yeah. So anyway, now we just need our last floor. So floor 5. And I will say this is quite small for traveling up and down and having them hooked. So you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a 6 by 24 area. And that would be if it was a 12 floors. So this one's not that long. But anyway, yeah. So you can see how it connected. So just to make sure it's back to its setting, I'm going to go ahead and activate it again. And believe it or not, we are almost done with this thing. I think we're coming up on some hours here. Okay, so that's where it needs to connect, so we ain't going to need that. We're going to need this. And we just need to connect it up. And you can see that, you know, each floor changes and it's slightly different the way it hooks up. But you know, if you don't like that, you can hook it up any way you want to here. As long as it's an inverted signal, you're all good. So yeah, that's pretty much the circuitry part done. We do need to go through some pretty heavy testing, because this thing's not just going to work. We do need to check it. So alrighty. So we're just going to do some touch-ups, and then we'll add in the note blocks after we test. We don't want to hear those things going off if this thing starts malfunctioning. So first thing I'm going to do is just button that area up just to finish it. Maybe add some wood here and grab some glass. And what I usually do is I come out to match the other floors, put some glowstone there for some light. Like that. So I really like the way that looks. And then, you know, your choice here. Myself, I like the glass here, like that, so it matches. And so another thing you would want to do is mark your floors. So this would be floor 6, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can tell what floor you're on when you're doing it. But so what we're going to want to do is test floor 1, or floor 2, I'm sorry. This is floor 2. We're going to want to test it, not by writing it, but just by testing it, and I'll show you what I mean. So, first thing we want to do is check to make sure that it's functioning properly. So, floor 2 activated. You can see that the safety rail actually popped up instead, because everything's not set correctly. So what you're going to need to do is grab some wood. Yeah. So before we do that, let's go ahead and call it up to an instant extension. And you can see that it didn't even miss, it totally missed the floor. It didn't do anything it was supposed to do. So this is supposed to be up. So let's go ahead and call it down. You can see that something is preventing it from retracting. So let's go ahead and check it. And I missed a repeater here, as you can see. So this is part of the debugging, you know. So now it dropped our floor. So you can see that, you know, just missing little things like that will cause it to malfunction. So yeah, if that happens to you, obviously you're just missing some redstone or a repeater, which it happens. So anyway, let's go ahead and send it down. And so if you hit the button and it goes down and then starts coming back up, your timings are wrong on the pink circuit and the green in the back. So let's go ahead and do an instant extension again. You can see that that instantly extended. So let's go ahead and send it up. And we're going to go ahead and do floor 3. So that would be 1, 2, and 3. So let's go ahead and call 3. And yeah, floor 3. So you can see nothing happened. So it should have dropped that bar and this should have dropped down. So let's go ahead and send it down from the floor we know is working. So call it down to us. And then send it down for a reset. So something's up with floor 3. Let's go ahead and check it. Make sure I'm not missing a repeater. Which I am. You can see I'm missing the same repeater. So I'm just going to let you know I purposely did this on a couple. Just because it's a common problem just to miss one repeater and then people complain. So you can see that this floor is not set correctly. You can see this. It's up when it shouldn't be. So you go here and hit that and it'll reset it. Now it should be set correct. So let's send it down first. And you can see that it did not send it down and then it did something weird. So it went up and down at the same time, which tells us there's definitely a malfunction. So let's go ahead and check it. So we got 3 here, we got 3 there. That's connected up. This is connected. We got the compensation by 3 ticks here instead of a full 4. And you can see everything's looking, you know, top shape. Not missing that repeater. Everything looks good here. Yeah, so let's go ahead and check to see if it's something else is wrong. So let's go ahead and instantly extend it and see what happens. Alrighty, so this is definitely not set correct. And so that's what you want to do. You want to knock those out, put them in the right place, and so on. So let's send it down again and see what happens. Alrighty, so what's going on here is there's some redstone missing because it's not actually resetting. So you can see that something's locked. We're getting power where we shouldn't. And there it is right there, I'm missing a block. So it's not allowing it to cut the power off. So this is another purpose thing I put in here. It happens, you just miss it and that's all it takes, and stuff malfunctions. So this should solve the problem, but let's check anyway. There might be some other things wrong with it. So whenever something gets turned on and off really fast on this elevator, it monostables the block. So a simple reset's all we need is to just call it up to us, and nothing happened. Let's try again. Alrighty, so we can see the floor is not set properly again. Let's go ahead and reset it proper. Let's send it up, and that should repair those pistons. So let's go ahead and call it down and check instant retraction. So that's all working good. Let's go ahead and send it down. And you can see the same thing happen. So this is telling me there's a timing issue. And the timing issue can be as simple as either one tick here or one tick here missing. So when it goes up and down really fast like that, there's usually a timing problem. So we got full delay there. It's all working. That's doing its job. This is correct. That's correct. So all the timings are checking out on this. So let's actually use our manual set here to see what's going on with it. It may not be toggling that block down. Okay, it's toggling the block. And this one's being toggled down correctly. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and check it one more time and see what's going on. So anytime I find a bad floor, I usually mark it just so I know it's bad. So when we're sending this thing down, it's not doing anything that we want it to. And then now all of a sudden it is. So let's try this again. Let's go ahead and call it up to us. Send it up. Instant retraction. And so what changed? Nothing actually. It's common when you first start using this. It's kind of like you kind of got to warm it up a little bit. But so this floor is working correctly. So 1 and 2. Or I'm sorry, 2 and 3 are working correctly. Now we just need to check the last 3 floors, and it's going to be the same thing. We're going to have to reset this bar and also the pistons. So let's go ahead and do an instant expansion. You can see it instantly extended, but the bar is in the incorrect position. The piston's down though, so that's right. So let's go ahead and send it down and see what happens. And we got the same thing as we did before. Instant retraction works. Let's try sending it down again. Alrighty, so we're getting the same thing as we did last time. Check. Make sure everything's cool. We got 6 ticks there. We got 8 ticks there. So that's all correct. No redstone missing. This is engaged, which it shouldn't be. So let's go ahead and disengage that. There we go. So let's try a reset from here. see it drop the block right. There you go. So I can see the problem right here is we're missing redstone right there. So that's a very important place. It can't do an instant extension. So we can see we got it all correct here. So the problem with it not sending it down though means this isn't in timed right. So no repeaters missing, no redstone. No redstone being blocked off. So yeah, this should be good. Let's go ahead and check it again. So I believe we were on this floor, weren't we? Floor 4. Alrighty. Little bit of thunder. Yeah, thank God I got the glass or it'd be raining like crap. So floor 4. Instant retraction working. Let's send it down. And we got the same thing. It's not sending it down. So I'm going to go ahead and pop through this wall real quick. Got the right times. No torches missing. And there's the problem right there. I missed this whole connection. So how could it possibly send it down if it's not hooked up? Which is, something that's going to happen with you or me. I've done this elevator probably countless times, and yet I've missed things like that more than once. So yeah, I mean, checking each floor, that's why we're checking it. So now that it's connected, we should actually get what we're looking for, which is a down. And it should be a nice smooth down. So this floor is good. So it checks out good. So I'm going to give it a green block. And so now let's try floor 5, is that? Yeah, 5. Probably run into some similar issues. You can already tell the bar's down, so that's obviously not correct. Instantly extended, but everything's incorrect. So like I was showing you, use a button here to reset it. Once it's set though, it should be good from then on. So let's send it up. Let's call it down. Now you'll notice that the up button is mainly for instant extension and instant retraction, and the only time down's used is when you're actually going down. So you see that this floor is working exactly like it's supposed to, just the guardrail wasn't set proper. So yeah, so that's that. Let's go ahead and check this top floor. It's obviously not set up correct. Simple fix like that. Yeah, so let's go ahead and send it down. And nothing happened, which means I probably didn't hook it up or something. Let's go ahead and check it out. Yeah, and you can see I didn't hook this one up either, which I will tell you I kind of purposely did some of this because it's the problems I've been seeing with people is they miss little things like this and then basically give me a dislike for no reason, if you ask me. But anyway, so yeah, just missing one little thing one time on this or one little section and nothing's gonna work right. So when we're done with this, you're gonna see that it's working. So if it's incorrect, you can't really blame me, can you? So anyway, send it down. You can see it's working right. As long as it goes all the way down, it doesn't come back up, it's working correct now. Now we can go ahead and tighten her up. Go ahead and do our glass, which this elevator works best with a 3-high glass. 3-high entryway. And it has to be regular glass. It can't be panes because panes gives you space that you can be pushed out on, or even the pistons will just pass you by. So So yeah, if you were to use fence posts or anything like that, you'll have the same results. You'll end up just getting pushed out of the elevator. So yeah. So once we got this glass, we can go ahead and do some test runs. And I will say I can pretty much tell you all the timings are really good on this, as far as it lifting you up and all that. And it's different from multiplayer to host, but I'll go through that with you. Since we've spent this much time anyway together working on this, I'll go ahead and prep you on how to extend this higher if you want it higher. Yeah, originally I made a 4-floor one, and it just didn't show enough of the circuitry. It also didn't show the instant wire, and it didn't show enough of the purple to actually just, continue. So if you see this is floor 4, you'd only have 2 of these, and you really can't get the concept. So that's why it's this high. And so if this was another 6 floors, they always match up next to each other. So it always stops here and then stops, and it does like an angle. If you actually look at it from a distance, you can see that it gets it's fatter on the bottom on the purple and slowly shrinks to nothing, and then does the same on the orange. It's fat on the top and then shrinks to 1, and it'll do that 12 up, which I'm going to do. I'm actually going to extend this elevator all the way up, but you'll have to do that yourself. So the elevator's checking out, but let's check out the ride. Now this is multiplayer friendly, so let's just go and hit 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is another test. Now you'll notice that as long as you're in the middle here, you're good. This is a common glitch which happens just randomly, and just a simple double jump will get you out of it on survival. But I would say, who's going to make this on survival? So we've already activated the next floor. So you can see that I'm on the right side now. And there you go. Let's go ahead and back up. Go up to floor 3, I think. I'm not jumping or anything. This is another glitch that happens. It doesn't recognize that you're there, and it doesn't lift you up that last little bit. But it's rare. So let's go ahead and try our next floor here. Now looking down is something the host has to do. People that aren't hosts need to look forward like this, and then push the button, and then don't move. So yeah, for a host though, you do want to look down and monitor it. And this is the top floor, so let's go ahead and check our down. So we need 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1 obviously isn't even hooked up to anything, so just mainly there for show or maybe for an extra thing. Well, if it misses a floor, it's probably because it was set accidentally or something, but it shouldn't miss any floors. But if it does, we'll go around back and check it. And I can say it's pretty smooth, and I'm not seeing any issues whatsoever. And let's go ahead and just go down to the bottom floor, make sure that's cool too. Floor 1. So that's pretty much it for that. So the testing on this is good. And I will say that this works on the PC, the same version as the PC version. So yeah. So now note blocks. We need our note blocks, and we're going to go ahead and use orange. Kind of ran out of colors, so we're going to just use orange again, and some note blocks. So right here is the first place we want to go to. So you basically want to connect on the circuit like that, have none. So this is a non-inverted one. And you can see that structure is going to come here when if you decide to enclose it. If you don't enclose it, if it's in a hill or something, you have plenty of room to put these note blocks, so none of that'll matter. But let's go ahead and check this out. Alright, so these need to be inverted. Like this. Alright, and then for the double chime, you're going to need to come up here. And put another inverted. And that's pretty much that. You go to each floor where there's a red block, which would be the same, and you would repeat what we just did. Same thing, and then up here you would do your inversion, and you do that all the way up, and this is your marker, is the red block. Right below the red block's the spot. So I'm going to go ahead and let you finish that, but the top is slightly different, and mainly is you can just basically get your inverted here, or I'm sorry, your non-inverted, like that. Now this would interfere. I don't know if you could see that. That would definitely get interference from here. So let's go ahead and back it up a little. It's only slightly different. This is actually the same as the top. There we go. So these are good places to get some chimes as well on the top, and you can hear them really nice. So you got inverted and non-inverted, and then you got the same over here, so it's nice and loud on the top. So let's go ahead and call this elevator up to us. You could hear the note blocks clearly. Let's hear it on the way down. 1, 2. Now we obviously didn't hook up these, so you're only going to hear the last 2. Which I didn't hear them. Oh, that's because this floor is set, which it shouldn't be. So let's check that and see why it's not resetting. Just to make sure. Could be missing a repeater or something. Yeah, so this thing's locked. Repeater lock. Or actually, it's just locked. So that happens occasionally. So the thing to do, if it ever does happen to you, is to modify this slightly. So this is the lowest one. There's no redstone really near it, and it's a short distance. So what I'm thinking is we can go ahead and extend this out 1 and connect it in like that, and that should solve the problem. That's actually the first time I've seen that. But yeah, you're gonna run into those things. So just a simple go around the back and check, and noticing that it wasn't resetting. So let's go ahead and check this. So you can see it's down. So let's go ahead and just remove this redstone and see what happens. So reset, everything's cool, no redstone lock. So that's all good. Alrighty, let's go ahead and hear those last two chimes, huh? And you got a 1, 2. Alrighty, so that's pretty much it for the elevator. So some pointers for how to extend this is, at this point, you would basically just want to go to the sky, but I would say the best way to go about extending this elevator is to, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then that would be your next floor. So that would be 10 total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then the same thing. So if you go all the way up to the sky, you're going to end up not having this land correctly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 1, 2, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'm going to double count that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we got 6 floors down there, so we got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So one more floor, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'm going to count that again because I might have screwed it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's correct. So that's pretty much as high as you'd want to make it on the 360. On the PC, though, you could just keep going, because 2 blocks above this is the limit above that glass. So if you count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. So you wouldn't have a floor up there. So there's no point in making it that high. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So that's pretty much as high as I would make this on the Xbox 360, and it does work. So yeah, you just mark out your floor and then copy and paste everything. You just do the same thing. You just continue the red circuit, continue the blue circuit, put all the pistons in, all the same stuff we just did, and then it's going to extend this out. You're going to have 6 more rows, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to add that length on, but not any more to the width. So yeah, and you're going to get the same with the orange circuit. You're going to get 1. Going to get something like that. So, but it will all work out if you stay to the same as what we've already done, which makes this infinitely expandable. And so just to go over some stuff, the PC version, if you want it to be multiplayer friendly, the red circuit repeaters have to be set on full delay, and then that one has to be on full as well. But for the Xbox, high speed right there, which seems to be the perfect speed for this on the 360. And so yeah, I'm going to actually extend this up, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Comment and like. If you do have issues, just remember what I said. You can see clearly that this is working. This is not a scam. I'm on the Xbox 360. You see me write it. You see me test it. So if something goes wrong, just simply ask me, hey, it's going up and down, but only on the 2nd floor or something. I could probably help you out. And if you're on the 360, I might even be able to jump into the map and help you, but I'm not making it for you. I'm just going to tell you that right now. This took me 2 hours to do this many, so it takes 4 hours altogether. I can actually cut it to 2 hours for a 12 high one, but yeah, it's including getting it all timed and stuff. It's just pain. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and just for a final show here, just to check it out, is that somebody said on my video, well, you never show yourself going all the way up to the top. And the reason why is sometimes it bugs, sometimes it doesn't. But you can see clearly, as long as you're in the right spot and you don't move, it takes you up. Now, I didn't activate this floor, obviously. So, yeah. If you were to have hit this before you wrote it to go all the way up, and it would work at the 12 high as well. My video clearly shows it. You can see if I activated it, it does that. And then see if you come down here, you can see it activates from any floor. So yeah, that's pretty much my elevator. It's the floor to floor. And so for burying this, or if you're just going to put it out on a map like mine, for instance, you can see clearly that I made it to stay within this area. Actually, it should come out one. And then your next location would be here. You should be able to go straight down with that. And this would be completely covered. And then if you're only doing 6, obviously this would be your next point to cover. But yeah, so anyway, quite a long tutorial, but I think it's well worth it because this is the best elevator in Minecraft. Alrighty, thanks for watching. Later.